Yes, everyone. Welcome back to the Man United Agenda, and I am Solo, and I'm joined by a special guest today, Mickey. As always, guys, we're here to talk about the four potential movers and shakers for the club. It's fast approaching as well, so guys, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and welcome to the channel. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Man United Agenda. I'm Solo, and as I said, I'm joined by a special guest, Mickey. Guy, how you doing, Mickey? How is things?
Fed and happy, thank you for asking. Yeah, I got a late call from you. I was having dinner with the wifey, and I'm fed and happy, thank you. Where I am, it's about 8 p.m. at the moment in Thailand. So yeah, it's lunchtime in your time. So yeah, all
1
good.
o'clock.
We're playing Barcelona in a few hours' time. Very excited. It's going to be the Battle of Camp Nou, and of course, yeah.
Record is atrocious as well, isn't it, against them? Bad record against them in Nou Camp as well, isn't it? Or Camp Nou, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, it's going to be a tough task, but at the moment for me, with the whole thing with Ten Hag at the moment, I've got the faith and I've got confidence within him, and whatever team he picks or whatever he puts out, I'm happy and pleased. Again, we're not here to talk about the game tonight because we already previewed and we all spoke about it already. But for me, I'd rather win the domestic trophies rather than win the Europa League. For me, if we finish the top four and win the say the League Cup and the FA Cup, I'll take that all day long. So yeah, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the takeovers at the moment. And looking at the takeover, it's fast approaching, Mickey. And I know you do a couple of bits and pieces on your channel already. Apparently, it's four people or four bids that's going to be locked in as from tomorrow. Who they are, we're not 100% sure of at the moment. We know obviously there's a US-based firm as well. The Rain Group is obviously looking to get bits and pieces on the way to then keep us, or should I say, to try and start getting this bidding war on the way. For me, with the Glazers now, it's a case of they're going to be looking for the most money rather than saying they'll take the best interest at heart for Manchester United. What's your thought process on that, and how do you think this bidding war is going to kick off? Because I don't think it's going to stop until at least the summer.
Well, it's a soft deadline bid, and of course, if you put your house on the market and you hire a broker, of course, you don't really care who's going to buy your house. All you care is get as much money as possible for your object or for your house. So, my take on it, it's obviously Rain Group runs a very tidy ship together with Latham and Watkins and Rotham's Charles Group. So it's all tied in the NDAs, and what we see is just speculations from media, because at the end of the day, whoever raises his hand and announces that they are bidding, it's PR for them as well. But rest assured, it's not a sort of linear timeline in certain sense. Like ever since the start of the bidding process in November, we will soon see, like, after the 17th of February, where who's actually bid, and all cards will come on the table. But I kind of expect that to be after 1 to 2 weeks after the soft deadline day. But what I'm saying is there's no linear process. That means that it is secretive. Like, you wouldn't know, who's been bidding, because Rainy Group don't disclose that. Like, they don't disclose who's the higher bidder. And, once you receive that financial information, once you formalize your bid, you put in the bid, and that is down to the evaluation from the Rainy Group, right? And that's where we are at the moment. So either if like a Dubai consortium has put in a bid, let's say hypothetically in December, we wouldn't know that, right? Because it's been tied into NDAs. But that's why it's going to be so interesting to see, past this deadline day, because it's not a public sale. So that means it's very privately run, smoothly run, swiftly, with no leaks. So that's why I'm saying, like, it's been so sensational. Like every media outlet is trying to scoop. It's this scoop of the century, in a way. Of course, it's Manchester United being for sale, and what matters is that we get the clowns out of town. The circus has been there for 17 years, and that's about it.
Yeah, and again, like what you said there with the whole media trying to get a scoop on it, but being Manchester United, we always in the media, there's always something, and I've never trust Manchester United, especially a few people within the club, because
Yeah.
there is sort of like there's always a leak within the club, within whatever happened at Manchester. There's always a leak. Something always comes out, and let run down the line, it always comes out that it's actually true fact. So for some of these stories being leaked, who's in for Manchester and who's not in for Manchester United, I think it's going to be one of those ones where we got to just wait and see. But for me, looking at the whole picture of Manchester United, we're talking about Radcliffe. So Radcliffe, he obviously went in for Chelsea recently with a failed bid. Now the rumor is he's shy of about 2 billion for Manchester United. So I don't know whether or not he's then going to try and build a consortium with his business to then try to get Manchester United. Now with this whole thing with Manchester United, it's almost like he will then whatever debts Manchester United has gathered and taken on, it seems like he then will let run down the line. The business or whoever comes in will take the debt now, but eventually the club has to pay that debt back. So no matter how you look at it, Man United, whoever comes in and buy it, will technically get their money back from the debt. Now, that's if it's Sir Jim Radcliffe or the American-based company that's going to come and take Man United. Now, if you look at the flip side of it, you could then look at, say, the Saudi Arabia groups or one of the Far Eastern. If they come in and they take the actual by Manchester United, in theory, they're not going to want that debt back. They're not going to want to sort of take that money back.
True.
Sorry, go on, Mick. So I was just going to get you to just jump on to what I've just said there with it. Can you hear me? I think Mix is cut there, or I've dropped in or dropped out on him there.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back.
You're
sorry,
back. You're back.
You got frozen.
Sorry. So I was saying about obviously with the Qatar or Middle Eastern, if they came in, it's something where they don't need to. They wouldn't take the debt. They would literally wipe the debt away. But any other company would actually want that money back. So as much as we're saying, Sir Jim Radcliffe would come in and clear everything, eventually his company or parent company will get that money back.
Yeah. Interesting. The take. I did a video about this yesterday. Like I've been following these Glazers to sell Manchester United ever since the summer, ever since it came. So I've been doing numerous reports and documentaries about it. I did one yesterday that I actually compare. Can Qatar state-backed fund on two clubs within Europe? And the answer is no. And what does it mean? Like, if you have a Red Bull group or a private company that owns like, two clubs in Europe, that's possible. But the only difference, what I see, Solo, is that, if you have a bankrolling, like, as reports were saying that Sir Jim Ratcliffe requires JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs to take like, debt recovering financing on Ineos, that money somehow needs to come back into Ineos, right? Within 10 years minimum. But, and any like, financial institution as well that buy United will look at to take out profits. And this is a model that we don't want as United fans, because we have 17 years enough. So if you look at any of those sovereign wealth funds, if they would have invest, let's say 5-6 billion pounds, right? Let's take one like Qatari investment fund, for instance. They're worth about $450 billion. So if they would have invested like, let's say 6 millions, right? That is only 2% of the overall asset revenue generation from that. So that's nothing. So they wouldn't expect anything back other than use Manchester United as a PR tool. If you look at Qatar, for instance, it's that World Cup hangover. Like, if that sustainability strategy model to say, hey, we invested a lot before the World Cup. We built a lot of stadiums. We built the infrastructure, railways, metros, and we got a blooded tooth for this. So we want to attract more sports into the region, right? Since we have the infrastructure. So that was kind of the Mir's take to say, like, go look for an investment in a Premier League club. So that's where they went to look at Tottenham, Spurs. They went on Liverpool. They went on Manchester United, and the similar thing goes with the UAE, like with the Dubai. They have so much money, and investing in sports is more like, to be a sports destination, but also a tourist destination, because they already have money in other areas, such as, I wouldn't say that Dubai has oil, but we know that Qatar has got lots of natural resources
Yes.
in its portfolio. So that is the big difference.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to go back to it because I've seen this comment here from Robin Norman about Sports Wash. Guys, we will give, actually, you know what, let's go through this quickly and just give some people a shout out, and then I'll come back to Robin Norman's comment, because I want to go to that comment because something triggered me off this morning. So Football Power Hour in the building, big up all the way from the US, big up Column in the building as well. United are going to show Barcelona what football's about tonight. Robin Norman in the building, happy lunchtime, thank you for joining us. Bill de Baggio in the building, afternoon lads. No, I don't know about up the Gunners, mate, to be honest with you. Then you got Column here again. This bidding that starts tomorrow will either be a drawn out powerhouse will make an offer that no one can. And I think that's a good one there as well, because I think with it, I think the Qatar investments and those guys, they will make that sort of bid that then the Glazers, the eye is going to literally be watered with the, you know what I mean? And they're not going to be able to refuse that offer.
I mean, I don't want to get into the sports washing, but has there ever been some evidence that Qatar has been involved in any sports washing? Jokes aside, I said, if you kind of manage to buy yourself a World Cup, I'm sure you find a rabbit hole to get United. But technically speaking, legally speaking, there's no way that QIS or QIA can buy, because you hear me a lot of speaking about overlapping and shadow directors, because they need to finally, once the bid has been placed, they need to pass the UEFA directors test, which means they have to prove who's the directors, the shadow directors, where's the funds coming from, right?
I've got a theory.
So therefore, the Emir cannot be involved.
Yeah, I've got a theory in that though. I've got a theory. And then you got Football Power Hour saying Elon or the Kuwait, Elon Musk, basically, that will be pocket money to him. Then you've got DN, big up, thank you. Prediction, I'm going to hopefully predict Man United to just scrape and win 2-1. I don't mind that at all. Don't mind that at all. Let's go to Niall, big up, welcome to the lunchtime. Bobby's in the building as well. Oops, where am I looking? Bobby's in the building up here. Then we got, this is the one I want to come back about the sports wash, but we'll come back to this one, but we'll come back. Robin Norman again. They'll happily pay the coverage. They spend 250. Yep, there you go. Stumpy Candle top in the building as well. Welcome, sir. Who is it? Danish Iqbal. Yep, there you go again. Let's go. Let's go. Is that gaming again in the building? Welcome. I've not seen you on the channel before, but welcome to the channel, sir. Let's go to this one. We're talking about sports wash now. Obviously, with the comment that Robin Norman made up. Brown envelope solo. Sorry, don't know what the brown envelope's all about, but it is there.
The big paper bag.
Yeah, I need something. No, but with it, with what Robin Norman's saying there with sports wash. Now, the leak's coming out to say that PSG could be the people who runs PSG would be the one that's coming in to buy Manchester United. Now, there was information that was leaked on Mbappe's page itself on his Instagram, not Twitter, because I believe that was a fake account on Twitter, but he did come out and say something on Instagram itself. But for me, looking at it, and if it's going to PSG, because obviously we know what the rules are if they cannot own two clubs that plays in the same competition, like Champions League, so they'll have to pick one of those teams itself. Now, my theory would be if they were to come in and say to buy Manchester United, would it be a case of they could probably give one of their family the documentation to sign off to give them to PSG, and then give them whatever money they need, then they will then come up by Manchester United. So in theory, the money's coming out from that family account. They're still family related, but then also they owe Manchester United as well. So then they get sort of a leeway near it. But in my opinion, that is sports washing anyway. It shouldn't be allowed to happen. It is. But at the same time, it's legal. There's legal ways around doing it. So I think it could work.
I
think
but but we all know the UEFA is probably one of the most shadiest organizations around. Like, you know, we've seen numerous documentaries about it. It's so corrupt, right? So it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. One of the theories is that QSI or QIA cannot own, because they gotta show, like, you know, as I said, the overlapping. This should. If you look at the reading, it's not as transparent, like, you know, because Tahani and Al Khalifi, what's his name, Nasser, they're involved in pretty much everything. Nasser Al Khalifi sits as a CEO with the PSG. The only possible thing that can do is what I always been suspecting: they bought Qatar for a PR tool for the World Cup. Now, that hasn't been such a great project, PSG. They haven't won anything. So now that the World Cup is finished, I have a theory that they are relinquishing PSG little by little by selling it off, or, as what you said, giving it to some relative within that has no links to PSI or QIA.
Yes,
So that means they have the free ride on Manchester United. Or option B is there is a brother, his older brother, Al Tahani's brother. He was actually the crown prince first. He was the ruler first, but he kind of relinquishes himself and gave it to Al Tahani. Now, he owns like Qatar Airways, foreign investment funds. He has no links and ties to the sovereign fund. So there's been some rumors also that he can be the one that is the front face of this bid, you know. Yes. Or last but not least, a little bird whispered in my ear some time ago that I went like this, because if you looked at Qatar World Cup, you know, you saw Glazers mingling around with the Royals, with Saudis, with Dubaians and Qatars. So there was some whispers that I heard from Dubai not long ago, but I kind of took it with a pinch of salt. But I woke up yesterday again, like, maybe there is something into it because of these rumors coming out that maybe the Emir, he wants to invest a minority investment, but into a consortium, right? You get similar to what Chelsea did with Todd Bowley's group. You have a group of people coming together investing in minorities. So there could be a Middle Eastern consortium consisting of the Kingdom Group of Saudi, the ICD of Dubai, and Qatar. That can also be a possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, I like to keep my powder dry. I'm a realist. I don't want to sort of get overcarried. I want this to happen as much as everyone else. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter who the owners is, because as long as they come in and clear the debt, right? Because Manchester United is such a big club. It says we're the fourth biggest club according to Forbes in generating revenue. We are self-sustainable, but, you know, Glazers hasn't done anything for 17 years. So the new owners needs to come in and clear the debt, meaning reset the FFP and invest in the infrastructure. And that's going to take three years, baby. 3 years. Yeah. So we need that rich sugar daddy to come in first 3 years to help us to catch up. Morning. Yeah. Sorry, I'm ranting too much.
Yeah, the thing with it as well, when you look at the flip side of it as well, and we're talking about PSG and the owners as well at Manchester United, and big up Linval for joining us, appreciate it. For it as well, it's, you look at the sort of the bigger picture on it, and like you just said there, you just want the owners to come in and clear the debt. For me, the principle I've got is whoever's got Manchester United best heart at interest, but it's not necessarily 100%. We are going to get it. I know Column in the comment there just put down that their project was to make PSG the best in sort of like world football by winning Champions League, so they dedicate themselves with Champions League. And with Manchester United, Man United might be,
but they had Edu running the show.
Yeah, right? And that's
it was Edu that was running the club.
It still is. Edu is still running the show. He picks the team. Edu picks the team. It's not down to the manager. But I think there was rumors with the fake David Beckham in the face of it and things like that as well.
Yeah.
I think if that came around with David Beckham in, he's obviously loved Manchester United. He's got the best interest at heart for Manchester United.
100%.
So I believe he would let the Ten Hag do what he's doing. What I don't want to do is whatever the owners who's coming to the club, I don't want them to go and start trying to mingle in Ten Hag's business. Let Ten Hag manage the club. Let Ten Hag pick the team. Let Ten Hag go out and say, I want this player. You go and get that player. You don't get a B player. You get the A player that Ten Hag wants. Under the Glazers' stewardship, we may not even get the second choice of what the manager wants. We might not even get the third. We might get the fourth or the fifth choice. So we need to make sure that, you know, that's how we can sustainable and get the manager on side with it as well.
Solo, can I just say 2 points on that one? When Erik ten Hag accepted his job, he had in his contract, he had a clause to say that he has full control in terms of who he wants in the transfer market and stuff like that. That was one of the conditions for him to, according to what I've heard, right? But I cannot confirm it. But this is what I heard, right? So if he doesn't go, there's also an exit clause. If he doesn't go get what he wants, his target and stuff like that, has the right to sort of walk away. Now, I don't think there's, looking at the success that he had so far, I don't think that whoever comes in, what they will do is just to clear the dead wood that Woodward created. Like, you know, in terms of the Richard Arnolds, the John Murtaughs, the old Glazer regime will go out and they will put in the best-in-class people, right? Recruit the best-in-class, you know, support back Ten Hag, because Ten Hag decides like what's going on the pitch, and they will create that sporting vision and project around, right? Because what matters at the end of the day, that we get back to our winning ways, that we are competing for every single trophy the way it used to be, right? Now, coming back to, do we need money? Yes, because sports have changed, right? You see Spurs is looking for investments. Liverpool is looking for investments and stuff like that. Why? Because it's getting too ridiculous expensive. Yeah, I mean, look at the inflated transfer market prices. We're looking at, you know, geez, 80 million, 100 million, release clauses of 120, 150. It's getting overinflated, right? Of course, Premier League for me is kind of the European Super League, because we you know, each club generates enough money to be sustainable in terms of TV rights, you know?
Yes.
So if you look at La Liga, I don't know if or Serie A, that kind of, for me, fizzled out a little bit. Like, you know, if you look at La Liga, it's only Real Madrid or Barcelona that I keep watching whenever there's a Clasico. I don't watch that league, you know? It's not interesting.
Yeah. But, and again, going back to those leagues there as well, when you look at the likes of Barcelona, like you said, and Real Madrid, I think with them, especially Real Madrid, buying the Galactico player every season, you spend all that money on just that one player, just to sort of boost revenue, shirt sales, and all of that. Man United, usually we go out and we normally buy under the Ferguson era, we buy a couple of players that will just come in and play, but then we always bought that one player who we believe is going to be the next big thing. Now, football has now changed completely how that used to be. The money itself now, for those players, like one of those players where we were paying, like with Wayne Rooney, like the 30 million for Wayne Rooney, 31 million for Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney now will probably cost you 130, 140 million. You're looking at now the likes of Nani would have cost you a lot of money. The Ronaldo of the world would have cost you a lot more money. So football with the inflation has gone absolutely ridiculous. I know we get blamed as other fan base out there would say Manchester United is a club that probably created, one of the club that created it with the inflation. But I don't look at it that way, because I look at the likes of Abramovich, when Abramovich first came in from Chelsea, and what he did was he went and spent ridiculous money. Now, we've got to look at Man City as well. When Man City came in, the amount of money they used to spend on players as well was absolutely ridiculous. You know, they brought in so many players on so many, you know, Chelsea at one stage as well, they had something like 32 young players out on loan. I read something the other day that Chelsea still, out of those 32 players, they still got something about 15 players who is above the age now of 32, 33 still on loan. So it's just, it's crazy when you look at it. So for me, with the owners coming to Man United, I don't, like I said earlier, I don't want us to get the second, third or fourth choice. I want us to get us the first choice, because the first choice then mean we are spending the money in the right place, not taking the money off and going around and trying to build players. Like Ahmed now, bless him, great player. We bought him for 30 something, 32 million. He's on loan. what is he going to be able to come back into this team? He's doing fantastic at
Mm.
Sunderland, but will he get the opportunity to come and play for Manchester? This is the million-dollar question.
Yeah, but if I may come back to that with the player inflation and stuff like that, when we say that football has changed, that means that footballers has also changed. They're now looking at, you know, how much money am I going to get in my short-term career? You know, you never know if I'm getting a kneecap blown away. You know, footballer's career is very, very short. Today's modern football, you know, it doesn't really matter which club I play for, whoever pays me the most money as well. That mentality has changed, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
But that's just my take on it. On the other hand, you know, we are consumers of the game and we like to be entertained. In terms of the transfer market, when you say go get the best, what is the best? Like, you know, Manchester United used to just have no scouting department or whatever. They just went out and paid ridiculous money. I think with Erik ten Hag right now, he's doing very astute planning and maybe looking to buy in those 40, 50 million pounds players, right? Go and scout in the grassroots. Let's say, like, go and get those likes of Martinez before they even hit Ajax, or, you know, and then Ajax sell them on for a ridiculous price money, because that's smart recruitment, right? Look at Argentina. You know that formula is working. You have Argentinian warriors in the team, Brazilians, XYZ. Like, you know, you have to be smart. Like, you know, I don't know what the future might be, but of course, if you look at commercial signings to get a shirt seller, every club's going to do that, you know, because at the end of the day, they're making money as well, right? So if you get an Mbappe in, that's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, and again, I think for Mbappe as well, the money, especially the money he's on a lot of money, and will he reduce his money to go to other clubs? That's another thing, because again, this is my issue with it, and I think UEFA, the Premier League, all of these guys should put a cap. We know football career is short, but I think we should put a cap on players' wages.
Yeah.
And the reason why we should put a cap on it, because right now it's going to be a case where, right, we're getting new owners in. As the new owners are coming in, they want this player, they want that player. I want the Mbappe of the world. I'm not going to lie to you. I want him. But at the same time, it's not my money that's going to Mbappe.
No.
It's the guys who owns it that's going to Mbappe. But for what's going on in the world today and what's happening, climate changes, you know, poverty that's going on, I think there should be a bit more of a strategic sort of cap on players to say, right, you can't earn over a certain amount. I know with Ten Hag, if the rumor is right, they're trying to put a cap on Manchester United right now, but Liverpool's done for years. Yeah, Liverpool's done for years, and it has worked at Liverpool. But gone.
But also, but also for fair play and fair development of the play itself. Like, you know, you look at likes of Harry Kane, for instance. Daniel Levy sort of blocked him many times because of the price fee that he demands. Like, you know, so if you slap, like, you know, hefty contracts and hefty fees and, you know, salary demands, you got to end up staying where you are. Like, you know, you're not going to develop as a player as well. Like, you know, so that's the risk what I see with Mbappe. Like, you know, okay, he plays in a French league, some people call it Farmers League, right? But I want to see him play in Prem or La Liga, you know. But currently, who can afford him? So I saw something like, you know, it was blowing up in social media, and even some fan channels did this, that, oh, well, if we get the PSG, the Qatari owners, he might come for free, like, you know, be a straight. So it's like, what? You know what I mean? I read something about it there. He will come because we have the same owners and blah blah blah. You know, is it theoretical possible? Maybe they could do a shady deal, like, you know, to get him over, because we know that they.
Again, Mickey, I'm going to sit there and say it to you. If they did own it, why wouldn't they put Mbappe on loan at Manchester United for a season with an option to buy?
Alone.
There you go. Alone at PSG with a, you know, part of the deal, the agreements they're going to have. And listen, like I would say to everyone, I'll take Mbappe, because like you just said, there are a lot of people say, call the French league a farmers league. Unfortunately, Mbappe in the World Cup, you see what player he can be. You see him in Champions League. 100%. Champions League's not a farmer league, so you can see what he can bring to the game. And then for me, I look at him and Haaland, and they're the next big thing. But the thing for me with Mbappe, he may not score as many goals as probably, say, Haaland, But when it comes to sort of like pace, techniques, quality, all of that, he's got that. He's got in abundance.
So
So, and
we are
especially
not.
if you fit in
I know
Manchester
we're not.
United perfectly.
Yeah, but I know we're not supposed to talk transfer market and players, right? But where would you put him on the left wing? Because would you put him on the left wing and Rashford in the middle?
Yes, Rashford central, Mbappe left. It's finished. That's it.
Oof.
And then Jadon Sancho
Yeah.
hopefully gets a bit, fitter and get back into the swing of it. And those front three will terrorize teams all over.
No,
What I'm going to do at the moment, though, is my eyesight's terrible. What I'm going to do, Mickey, I'm just going to highlight some comments for you just to read out for me, if that's all right, yeah? Because I'm trying to read
cool.
the thing out and I
I
can't
had
even
laser
see
eye
it. So,
surgery, so I am.
yeah, I've been trying to do
Barca
it
and
and I'm
Qatar,
terrible.
Barca and Qatar Airways as jersey sponsor. FA has Emirates, Arsenal Stadium, but everyone is losing cool and giving us moral lectures. From the media, yes. I saw an article yesterday that Manchester United is selling its soul. And I was like, what the hell was this I read about? You know, we lost the soul already 17 years ago when Glazers did a hostile takeover and bought us on leveraged debts, right? Robbie Norman, brown envelope in Ireland is reference to backhand payments. I know. Letuelu Eula. The owners of PSG might not even keep them. They bought them to make the best sport club in the world, and they only care about the Champions League project they have there which has failed. That's what I said before. Two reasons. Yes, they bought them for a and the same deal when they actually bought out Neymar's contract was to promote the Qatar World Cup, but also as a Champions League project. So that hasn't really been successful. It's been a kind of a toxic environment in terms of club culture over there. Edo has been running and picking the show. They've been sacking a lot of managers. It's not been a very sustainable model, has it? Right. I agree. We need our first choice signing. Yes, we do. Always. It's not just players' prices that have inflated. It's club price too. Yes. 100 million a decade ago would have gotten you a low to mid-table Prem side. Now the money gets you clubs in the league and in the championship. Yeah, it's true that. I think every contract should have a donation clause, like 10% to yearly salary should go to charity organizations to help combat things like climate change. Big up. Very, very good comment. Give me Mbappe. I'm waiting for oil me up here. I'm not for up buying the league, but we sound like in their plastic city, PSG, Chelsea, and Newcastle. Well, wait a minute. I'm not up for buying the league.
Yeah.
We're sounding like the either plastic city, PSG, and that's what I don't want to. It struck me the other day. What if they find some loophole to buy us? Let's say, I don't mind Qatar buying us. I don't mind anyone buying us, but I want it to be clean in a way.
Yeah.
I don't want it to come down that somebody does an investigation and fall down the track to discover how we got purchased and those shady deals, and we are getting into mud. That's what I'm saying. I'm also being cautious and keeping my powder dry.
Yeah, and like what Bill says as well, I agree with what Bill's saying. As much as, like I said, I'd love Mbappe at Manchester United, I want us, the team, Ten Hag, to work very hard in winning leagues, not just bringing the best in class. Like I'm saying, when I say best in class, I want his target. Ten Hag could sit there right now and said, right, I need, I don't know, Will Prowse. I need Will Prowse. You go get Will Prowse. You don't go, but with Ten Hag, I don't think he's going to go and get these big high-profile players out there. If he wants Will Prowse, he can't get Will Prowse. He don't go down and get sort of like someone from the Championship to come in who is the stature of Will Prowse. We need that Will Prowse in the team, so that's what he wants. I don't think Ten Hag's going to go out and said, I want 5, Mbappe or 10 Haaland. I think he's going to need, right now with Waghorse. I think with Waghorse could end up staying at Manchester United. And again, whatever Ten Hag wants, I'll keep him.
But the way City works and the way I think Manchester United will work as well, because we haven't had a proper sporting director at all, like, in terms of planning. We're starting to see that right now. So what I wanted to see to appoint the best in class people, meaning bring in an Eddie van der Sar. I don't mind if Beckham comes in as a face or CEO, because he knows how to run a football club. If you look at Inter Miami, he's kind of entrepreneur, like commercial. He's a Mancunian. He knows the values inside out, right? But on the other hand, while we are doing this, question is, what should we do with Old Trafford? Should we then refurbish Old Trafford? Because that has some really good sentimental values in my heart. Or should we just build a brand new stadium? This is where I'm getting split.
I saw something the other day, and Mr. B,
and that money that gets spent doesn't go on the FFP.
Yeah, I think what Mr. B showed me something, because we were having a discussion yesterday about it, about the new stadium and things like that. And I said, listen, at the end of the day, there's a lot of memories, there's a lot of fundamental part of Old Trafford. For the money it's going to cost to refurbish Old Trafford, would it be easier if we ground share for a few years, knock down Old Trafford, keep where we've got there, and then just build? Like, we could probably even keep the pitch and everything. All we need to do is just knock it down and build around and build it up to make it into a new stadium as well. I know it's hard and it's difficult, but you're gonna sit there, you're gonna come into Old Trafford, right? You're owner of a football club. You just bought Manchester United, yeah, and it's your money, and obviously you do care what the fans think, but you're going to say it's going to spend to build a new stadium, it will cost $1 billion, right, to build a new stadium, but to refurbish Old Trafford is going to cost you 2.5 billion. What would you do?
I'm thinking with logic and reasoning. I will keep the Old Trafford, build a stadium next to it, keep Old Trafford, and let the women's team play on it. Let the under 21s, the B team plays on it. We can still have Old Trafford to play our games while we're building our new stadium. Why not? I mean, we need the latest and greatest in terms of what, City has it, Spurs has it, Arsenal arguably have a better stadium as well. So basically, when Glazers bought United 17 years ago, they bought a full modern stadium. But the problem is that they haven't done nothing during these 17 years. Not even like, a little bit of lick of paint. Everyone knows the problem. Same with Carrington. So there's a lot of catch up to be done. And that's why we need this, where I say the sugar daddy to help us to do this in the first 3 years, like while we're developing. But other than that, I think in the commitment manifesto, Solo, I think the most important thing as well is to have a clear, open-ended communication to the fan base. That we know that Glazers didn't do.
That as well.
They created the great divide in the media. Yeah.
And just a few comments here.
Last but not least, sorry.
Do you last or not least?
I will read this. Last but not least, for me, the most important thing is this is something going back to what we talked about. Do not take any money out of the club for the next 10 years. Let us catch up, right? Even if it's like, financial institution or whatever, don't take any revenues, dividends out. Dividend is a big no-no. That means that whoever comes in, use it as a investment for sports, right? To make us great. Let us keep our money. Let us be sustainable, self-sustainable, that we used to be under Sir Alex before the Glazers came in, under David Gill and stuff. Because we would like, the money that we generated, we bought the best in class people anyway, right? So we're a big enough club to do that, but that's the most important thing. Do you want me to read Lindvall's comment here?
Please.
Okay. Lucky I had my laser eye surgery. Mbappe is a brilliant player. If Erik ten Hag can sort his attitude out, he will be the perfect signing. Him, Rash, and Sancho running at you would be mad crazy.
Agree.
Lindvall, trust me, Erik ten Hag can sort out anything. You saw what he did with the CR7, right? Manchester United could rebuild Old Trafford at 1 billion, or build a brand new stadium nearby land costed 2 billion. Which one would you take? Okay.
It's tough. I'm not going to answer that one. Very difficult.
But yeah, Not to knock it down. You cannot knock it down. You cannot knock
Yeah, you
down
can
like a
give it
Mickey
to the
Fewings
female,
wall.
the ladies team. Give it to the
Yeah.
ladies team to play there.
100%.
Another one
We
from
want a
Linval.
few thousand. Yeah, I mean, what they can do is to add an extra section on, to add more, like, you know, if you think of return on investment. So if you add on an extra capacity of 10, 20,000 seats over the year, that money is coming back quite quickly. We want few thousand more seats. We got to the fans to feel it ain't Man City. Old Trafford will never be empty. True, man. If I get that right, the problem is with sports washing, coming back to that, jokes aside, look at our size of the club and look at City. You know, do they fill the stadium? No. You know, do they have a global fan base? I don't see them. So no wonder they have to sort of pump in their own, you know, creating fake sponsorships, right? Jokes aside, you know what I'm talking about. The paint is coming off at Old Trafford. Sorry. I worry it will take too long. What mean is transfer planning for the summer. No, the
Scott,
deadline is
big
set
up,
to be
welcome.
Scott, big up. I will get back to that comment. United getting into debt, either updating facilities, fine. Also, as long we have a proper director of football to guide us through the transfer market, and we save us some cash by buying smart while paying the debt back. Yeah, but things
Good
got to
quote.
go immediately. When you're actually buying the club, you actually have to clear the debt first with the bank. And whatever is left, the FFP button will be reset. You know, whatever the revenue and everything will be recalculated. So therefore, you got to see in the summer what you have left. So it's so important that the owners comes in. And Rainy Group has set a sales process in 3 months. So that's what everyone is saying, that the club will be sold in Q1, meaning end of March by latest.
Yeah. Right, guys. Listen, today we've got an action-packed night. At 5:15, we've got the watch along with Mr. B. He'll be back for that. At 8:30, we will be joining on Monday CALLULA, Stuart Marshall, and probably Rebel, I think, for the reaction show, Manu at Barcelona. Also, what else is there to be done? Tomorrow, roughly about this time tomorrow, I think I am back to give an update, because I want to find out exactly what the gossips are surrounding who the actual 4 candidates are who put their bids in. So we will be back tomorrow, roughly about this time tomorrow as well. But listen, guys, we need to find out where we can find Mick from. Ruby. Where can we find
Ruby? You can find me on Twitter if you type in Mick Ruby or Ruby Red _ MUFC. Also, Twitter on MUFC Realist TV, YouTube channel where we are doing collaboration with the agenda. It's also called MUFC Realist TV.
Big
Guys,
up, big
come
up.
over here.
Thank you. And guys, remember 13 in the chat. If I didn't read your comment out, I am apologies for it. But we are back. But I've got one comment from Bath Time, who joined the party late.
I see you. I assume UVE DME'd me to watch. I didn't really understand that first part. Me to watch this despite knowing I hate anything related to transfer and takeovers.
Yeah, Bath Time does. He does. Bath Time do not like anything to do with
too.
transfer, rumors, takeover, anything. He just wants to talk football side of it. So
that's how,
guys, listen, thank you all for watching, liking, sharing, subscribing. We will be back tomorrow, as I said. And where is this? Linval, where's my badge gone? What badge? I have no idea where the badge has gone, Linval, but I'll try and see what we're talking about the badge. I'll shout you off afterwards.
Solo, I got to ask you, what's your score prediction for tonight? I haven't asked you yet, so while I'm having here.
If I'm not being boring, I always predict Man United to win 3-1. But what I need to do is I am going to go with, I am going to go 2-1 United. I will go 2-1 United. Thank you, Bath Time. Appreciate it. Absolute pleasure as always. But guys, if you're new to the channel, please give us a like, share, and subscribe. And as I said, we'll be back today at 5:15. So make sure you tune in. And thanks to Mickey for being on today with us. Make sure you go check his channel out as well, guys. But from us, good evening or good afternoon.